Hello students, my name is Dr. Jyoti Prakash and I am Assistant Professor in the Department of Management of School of Management Sciences, Lucknow. Now, in this video lecture, we will have a discussion about current trends in NGOs industry, and I also hope that you all are safe and healthy at your home during this period. And we all are facing uncertainty, or we are all are facing a critical situation nowadays. So, just be safe and healthy at your homes. So, just start in the have about the discussing this particular topic like NGO industry, and we all and you all have an idea about NGO industry. You must have, I think. So, firstly we will have an introduction about NGO industry. So, NGOs are basically defined as organizations that pursue a public interest agenda rather than commercial interest. This definition has been given by Hall Jones in 2006. This particular definition basically refers or says that these type of institution, these type of service firm are basically work or pursue or explore or perform their activities in order to do some welfare about the public, or about the they just focus on just social welfare aspect of the public. They do not work for the commercial interest, means they do not want to operate or they do not want to channelize their activities in order to earn money. So, NGOs are basically, somehow we can say that these are social interest organizations or the firms which work on doing welfare doing welfare to the public. The term NGO describes a range of groups and organizations, from watchdog activity group and aid agencies to develop policies and organization. Obviously, we can say that NGOs are basically group of institutions or organizations that basically operate for the same purpose that I have explained earlier, means they all work for doing some welfare activity in the society, or do some welfare program, or introduce some welfare program to the public. So, accordingly they just safeguard the interest of the general public of the society. Marketing was basically taboo word for a non-government organization few years back, means as the earlier two lines says that non-government organizations are basically working for providing some welfare or some providing some benefit to the general public without involving some commercial interest in that. But nowadays this particular concept has been changed. So, NGOs have also started working on promoting the services, promoting the name or the goodwill of the NGOs. So, accordingly the different players or different donors just took their interest in investing the money in fulfilling the objective of these NGOs somehow. So, like unnecessarily evil, the NGO marketing is evolving with the increase in mushrooming NGOs everywhere in India. And obviously, we are also able to see the scenario around our societies, that there are every nook and corner is basically flooded with these type of NGOs which work with a motive to do some welfare about the public, but simultaneously one objective is involved in that, or we can say that one hidden objective they are also carrying, that they want to attract some philanthropist, or they want to attract some donors, so that they can just contribute their money, or they just give donation to these NGOs, so that they accordingly they can survive and they can accordingly fulfill the objective, or serve they can serve the society. So, that is these are the things related to NGOs. Before discussing NGO marketing, let us understand the stakeholders of NGOs. Means what are the players? Means if we talk about stakeholders, stakeholders are those persons which are somehow directly or indirectly related to a business firm or business organization. So, if we talk about NGOs, these three stakeholders are associated with NGO firms, What are they? Like the first one is NGO people. Obviously, the person or the people or the employees of that particular NGO, like members, management, volunteers and the employees of that NGO. The first one means these are basically we can say that the internal thing or internal people of that NGO firm. The second one is donor. Donor means the philanthropist or the persons who want to donate or who want to contribute or invest their money in this type of NGO, so that accordingly they can also get a sense about doing welfare to or giving some welfare program to the public. So, donors includes like individual, anyone who is interested or who want to contribute their money in this in the existence or in fulfilling the purpose of the NGO, they can do. Corporate means the business organizations or the private business organization who are blue chip or who are financially sound. They can also invest if they want. They can also, if these NGOs just do good promotional activities or good activities or represent good practices in front of these donors, obviously they will be interested or they will feel happy in investing their money in the fulfilling the purpose of that particular NGO. Big NGOs, obviously some of the NGOs are already established who are working, which are working very well and able to get so much of monetary funds from either government or either private parties, and government groups are obviously there because government is one of the aspect or one of the body which help which or who want to help these type of NGOs, because government also wants to also want that whatever the public come under them, they want to be safe, they want to get, they are able to get all the facilities. So, these NGOs basically somehow help the government in fulfilling this particular purpose too. So, donor includes the individual, any person, the corporates, the companies, big NGOs, those who are already established and working well and established well in the scenario in the market and in the industry, and obviously the government. So, donor includes these, and the third one is beneficiaries. Beneficiaries, we can say that in marketing we can say that beneficiaries means the target customers or your target group to whom you being one NGO, you want to provide some facilities or some benefit to them. So, beneficiary, the name itself refers that the person or the individuals who are able to get benefit from the NGOs. So, beneficiaries includes communities, a group of people or the target people to whom you are targeting basically, and who wants to provide some facilities or some benefits to them basically. So, these are three types of stakeholders who are associated with NGOs, and these are basically NGO people, the employees, the donors, the external one or external one who want to or who just took interest and who take interest in giving their money or investing their money in fulfilling the purpose of NGO, and obviously the beneficiaries, the target customer or the target people. Now, let us have an understanding about the service marketing mix of NGO industry. Like we talk about product. Product is equivalent to the benefit provided to the target group. Obviously, product is what? Product can be in service, product can be the tangible and intangible dominant too. So, if we talk about product, it is totally the benefit that NGO firm wants to give to a particular target group or a community. That is all about product. Price would be the fund necessary to implement program, carry out projects, and the personal cost needed. Obviously, price is what the overall cost that will incur in providing particular benefit or the type or the group of benefits or the sort of benefits that NGO firm wants to provide to its target customer or to community. So, that is all about price, means how the fund, the level of fund that they are generating from the donors in order to carry out the projects, and also in order to meet out the cost or the office expenses. So, that is all about price. place is all about establishment or setup of the office that should be easiest access to the donor too, because if a donor, suppose if an individual, if I am being an individual, if I am investing my money in NGO, so time to time I want to supervise or I want to check out the activities that whether I have invested my money in a good thing or bad thing. So, that should also be checked out by the donor too. So, place somehow establishment of a place or the office should be near to the donor or near to the expectation or near to the demand or of your donor. So, according to that you just able to take decision or regarding establishment of the office at a particular place. And obviously one of the important consideration can also be taken care means your beneficiaries, because you have to take care on your both parties. Being a NGO firm, like both the parties are very important for you, like donors as well as the beneficiaries, means to whom you want to provide the benefits and the facilities, both are very important to you. So, being before by taking decision about the establishment of or setup of a office, you have to take care or you have to take consideration about your target customers or our target group too. So, that is all about place. The next is promotion. NGO firms are basically use like use the element of promotion like advertising, sales promotion, public relation activities, personal selling and social medias they are using basically, and whatever the practices and the events that they have conducted, they just give it to social media or in the form of blog, in the form of in the website too, so that accordingly they just give information and they want to circulate in a at a mass level, so that every member or every citizen just get an idea about the working of that particular NGO. So, these are some of the elements used by the NGO industry or the NGO firm in order to give information about the benefits or in order to give information about the welfare activities of the NGO firms. If we talk about people, people is all about the persons or the employees come under or belongs to your firm basically, and people also includes the volunteers, means in society there are some types of or some individuals basically want to act like volunteers, means without any motive or without any commercial interest. Some individuals basically may part in that because they want to serve the society, they want to give a benefit to the society. So, they just involved in these type of NGOs and act like a volunteer and supporter, and they just facilitate the functioning or they just give ease to these NGOs in fulfilling the promises or in providing the services to the target customer or target group or the community that they want to capture or they want to give on. So, that these are basically come under these are the things that come under people. Process is all about the way or the way in which the benefits are being delivered to the customers. If we talk about physical evidences includes the infrastructure of the offices, the buildings or the brochures or your websites. Somehow these give a sense to the general public about the existence, about the survival of NGO firm, and they just get an idea. So, these things come under physical evidence. So, if we see the 7 P's or the service marketing mix of NGO industry: product, price, place, promotion, people, process, physical evidence. So, if you want to get involved in some sort of NGO, so just to get an idea and just to work on the element effectively, so that you just able to cater the purpose of yours that you want to serve the society, that you want and that you are basically carrying out. The next discussion is totally based on now the current trends that are basically adopted by the NGO industries nowadays. The first one is democratization and the civil society ideal. democracy, we all are living in democracy, means we all we all can take decision on our sense, using our senses. So, emergence of civil society and because everybody or every people basically want to live like a civilized citizen. So, they want to get benefits from the government and the other firms like NGOs. So, these sense basically somehow gives a lot or contributed a lot in the existence of the NGOs, and many NGOs are basically coming into the existence for fulfilling the purpose of this particular purpose of the citizens. So, the emergence of civil society and the addition of more open societies have both led to an environment that was favorable to proliferation of NGOs. The second one is growing demand for information analysis and action. The general public is basically bombarded with unsystematic and unreliable information given by the NGOs basically, or given by the media, or given by the different companies. In fact, means whatever the promises or whatever the aspects or things are being given by the media or the companies, somehow we as citizen or we as public do not rely on that sometimes. So, we want to get information from reliable sources. So, NGOs are basically, we can say that NGOs seems like some of reliable sources, because the name itself refers that non-profit organizations. So, these organizations are basically working with a motive to serve the society, not with a motive to earn money. So, we can rely on that very easily. So, we expect that these NGOs can collect data about anything or about any event or a happening that may occur or that are occurring in our society. So, accordingly we can just get informed about the things or about the happenings around the society or around the world, and just get a true picture about that. So, these NGOs basically are collecting data or can collect the data and make decision, and somehow playing a role that is valuable in developing countries where such information might not readily exist. Somehow these NGOs basically work in some rural areas or in such areas which are not touched and which are basically uncovered by the media or by the firms in fact, and we as a customer or we as general public do not know about the things related to that those uncovered areas. So, the NGOs basically work on those uncovered areas, just fetch the information and bring the information to the knowledge of the general public. So, somehow these are the factors, or these are the facts which contributed a lot in the existence or in the survival of NGOs. So, it is also one of the important aspect working behind the successful existence of NGO. The next is improved communication technologies. The growth of the internet has led to inexpensive, instant and largely unregulated flow of information. Obviously, suppose do an activity, you just type anything on Google, you will get some sort of information about that. So, it is very easy nowadays, it is very easy to get information about anything in a very easy manner. So, this is somehow one of the important aspect that is also related to the NGO as well. In addition, the nature of information age makes it difficult to restrict the inflow of information from the perspective of authority government. Means somehow if the things are occurring or some events are happening in the scenario, so it is very difficult to control the spreading of that information to the customer. So, NGO can adopt these type of improved communication technology. So, accordingly without any intervention of the other parties or like government and other powerful players in the scenario or in the industry or in the market, NGO firms basically can circulate or give a complete picture or a true picture to the general public. So, accordingly they can they just able to win the trust of the public, and if they are able to win the trust, obviously whatever the purpose they are carrying, they will be they will be successful in achieving that. So, being a NGO firm, they should adopt or they should use these improved communication technology in order to give or in order to circulate the true information or the adequate or appropriate information about any event or anything that is happening around the scenario or around the environment in which a customer or in which public basically live in. The next is globalization of NGO funding. The issue of funding, obviously it is one of the important aspect or important or the crucial concern from a NGO point of view, because raising fund is very important. And how it is so, we just see, like the issue of funding is important since many organizations work with small budget and staffs. Obviously, because if you are going to establish an NGO firm, you do not have so much of financial resources. So, obviously, you will start your NGO firm with less employees, less human resources and a small budget. So, on that you just take decision or you just regulate or channelize your activities because of the fund factor. So, in many nations such as in Africa, Asia and Latin America, there are no tax incentive to fund NGO. Obviously, it is also one of the important or the crucial concern. Hence, most of the funding flows from developed countries to developing or transitional countries, means beyond the boundaries, different countries are basically showing their interest in giving funds or in contributing their money in fulfilling the purposes of NGO. So, somehow NGOs are able to get benefit from the domestic players or domestic entities as well as the international entities too. However, foreign funding raises question about the credibility of the organization. One important, if the international entities are investing money in NGOs, so it is also an important question of them that how credible you are, means being how credible that NGO firm is, how was the reputation and how is the working, and how much benefit you have provided to your target community or your target group. These questions basically were asked to the international entities for before contributing or before giving funds to these NGOs. Obviously, these are very important aspect or the important concerns. So, being an NGO firm, you should have an answer about these questions. So, accordingly, you just make them convince in such a manner. So, they just you can pulled out and you can just pulled out their money for investing in your NGO too. So, you should be very careful about the preparing the answer of the questions. So, you before that you have to adopt certain practices or you have to conduct certain sort of event which somehow gives a picture or gives an answer about the benefits that you have provided to your beneficiaries. Furthermore, the issue of funding, transparency and the accountability becomes more complicated when NGOs cross national borders. Obviously, if you are acting internationally, so your credibility must be there. Your transparency means the activities or the operation that you or the purpose that you are carrying, that should be transparent, means that should be known to everyone, and that should your activity should also justify your course of action or the activities or the strategy that you have adopted in order to give benefit to your beneficiaries. The next one is paralysis and poor performance of the public sector, means this particular factor is somehow one of the important factor which contributed a lot in the existence of the NGOs firm or the NGO sector. Like the people or the general public basically do not rely or do not believe in the information given by the sectors or the different officials, like the never ending scandals, and we as public are seeing that various scandals and scams are being conducted by the officials and the government bodies in fact, and somehow we are losing our trust in the government bodies and in the official bodies, because because they have more money, they have the required money so that they can fulfill their requirement. Instead of that, they have involved themselves in such sort of scam, and that scam basically amounted in 2, 3, 4, 5 like crores. We cannot imagine, and we are not able to in fact count the number of notes come under that amount. So, somehow we have lose out our trust factor in these type of government bodies and the official ones. So, these are show somehow the poor performance of the policy makers, and that have led citizens to the question of legitimacy of the government. Means somehow we have a question mark about the functioning of the government, means what the government is and how is the government functioning, because some of the official are involving in such sort of scam and scandal, and what punishment or what level of punishment they are basically given provided by the government. So, we all are seeing in a scenario. I do not want to discuss and I do not want to quote any the name of any scandal or any scam. So, we all are able to see in the newspaper and in the advertisement that various scandals and scams are coming into the scenario, and we just as general public are able to know about that thing. So, somehow it is it led to, or it gives a poor or good, bad or poor image about the government or about the public sector. So, these NGOs basically can come forward and just clean the picture of this or can clean the this bad image, and can contribute a lot in framing a good image or good a reputed image about the officials or about the things, because in earlier we have discussed or we have seen that these NGOs basically bring true information or those information which are uncovered or which are not known to general public. So, NGOs basically contributed a lot, which somehow this particular factor basically contributed a lot in making a trust factor about the NGOs into the mind of general public. So, these are basically some of the references you just go through and just get more understanding if you want. I think this particular video class is enough and sufficient in this particular for this particular lecture, and that is all in this lecture. Thank you, students.